सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सकलौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धिर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्तवेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यदिति मे निश्चिता मतिः।
From 94 to 96, Siddhanti is giving the Samadhanani regarding the third dosha, the three doshas, doshatraya as Adhyasa Hetu. Purva Pakshi had made a rule that these three doshas, Prameya dosha in the form of Sadrishyam, Pramatra dosha in the form of Lobha, Bhaya and Ragadi, and Pramana dosha in the form of defect in the instruments. All these three are required for Adhyasa to take place. And he said in the case of Bandha Adhyasa, this is not there, so Bandha Adhyasa is not possible. Now Siddhanti is showing that these three are not necessary for Adhyasa to take place. He said even without these three, Adhyasa is there. And thus he gives Vyatireka Vyavichara, he shows Vyatireka Vyavichara in the case of all the three to show that this it is not required for Adhyasa, and he gives examples for all of them. Finally, in the end of 96th Avarta, he gives the one example which shows that all these three are not required for Adhyasa, and this he shows in the example of Akasha, the superimposition of Indranila, that means blue color, and Katahara means I thought dome shape, the dome shape of this.
Katahara dome shape.
It's called dome shape.
Dome shape also is talked about, but here Kataha has got this. Dome shape also you can say, but Kataha means the cauldron.
So the cauldron shape of the space, these two are superimposed on space, and this superimposition of these three is not because of any of these three doshas, because Prameya desha is not there because there is no sadrishyam between the Adhyastha, the Niladi and the Adhishtanam space, and also Pramatra dosha is not there because this is seen by all, and everybody could not be having Ragadi uniformly. And Pramana dosha is not there because in this case there could not be a defect of eyesight with regard to everybody uniformly. So since all these three are not there but Adhyasa is still there, so that means these three are not the cause of Adhyasa. So with this he gives the argument and he finally says Iktam doshaha na Adhyasa hetu. That means because of the...
I think this we had done no previously.
I'm just reading that one line because in Tippani it comes.
So you can go up to that, yeah.
Just that only I'm reading. Okay. So he says because of Vyatireka Vyavichara, the doshas are not cause for Adhyasa hetu. And by saying this...
Not cause for Adhyasa hetu.
I'm sorry, not cause for Adhyasa. And thus, therefore he says Bandha Adhyasa is not expected. Now what happens is now he brings up a topic of incidental point which seems to be a controversy, which may raise a doubt. That he says that Vichara Sagara says that in Sharirika Mimamsa, written by Sarvajñatva Muni, which is one of the Brihad Prasthanatraya, in this Brihad Prasthana.
No, this Sankshepa Sharirika.
No, sorry, it's not. The other one is.
Don't give extra details, whatever main details. You did not go into that. Main subject matter summary again.
In Sharirika Mimamsa, this Sarvajñatva Muni, he accepts dosha as being the cause for Adhyasa. And he says, and this Nishchal Vidasti says that I will not expand on this here because it will expand this text which is already pretty big. And the second reason he gives is more important. He says that if Adhyasa, if these doshas were the cause for Adhyasa, then there is a need for specific analysis of them. But since it is not so, there is no need to get into that elaboration. But the Tippanikara, he wants to explain, wants us to understand this, and he takes up this verse, dosha na adhyasa hetu, which is told by Nishchala Dasa, which is a general statement, and he wants to show that it does not mean that no dosha is possible for adhyasa. What is indicated here is he wants to make it clear. So he says that really speaking, the general statement is misleading. So that is why he wants to refine that statement. And he says that when there is a combo of all these three defects of prameya, pramatra and pramana dosha, then only adhyasa is born. This rule is not there. So really there can be what we call some dosha is always there when there is a mistake. And there can be some other form of dosha can be there. So only the Nishchala Dashaji is telling that these three popular doshas are not there, is the indication. And he says in the example of Akasha and Niladi, superimposition of Niladi on Akasha, he says that the defect in the form of these three doshas is not there. But there is a defect is there because the mistake is there in the form of avidya, in the form of ignorance of not knowing the true nature of space as being colorless and formless. So this ignorance is there. So if by chance the person had known that it is that knowledge was there, then this adhyasa, even if he saw it, he would have negated it. So this would not have been there. So that is why he says this avidya is a fundamental ignorance which is there in which is there in adhyasa. In a is a fundamental dosha. Is a fundamental dosha. So he says that in a deeper sense, without avidya, one would not even be a seer of anything. Because for at least for the minimum, avidya is required to have the status of being a seer of this thing. And this avidya can be in a relative sense or an absolute sense. We can see it in both ways. Then he says, if there is absence of any defect, then adhyasa is not possible. This Madhusudan Saraswati says it in his different lakshana which he gives. This is the lakshana of Brahma or something. Brahmasya lakshana. Not doshas. Not doshas.
Brahmasya lakshana.
So
I had said dosha? Then it is wrong. Brahmasya lakshana.
So he says that dosha janyatvam brahmasya lakshana. So being born of dosha is the lakshana of a Brahma. And Madhusudan Saraswati says this. So this shows that the dosha, some form of dosha will always be there for any adhyasa. Then he wants to give respect to Nishchala Dasji for his statement, dosha na adhyasa hetu. And for this he says that this sort of a statement is said, is born out of the, what you call it, Praudivada statement. And he defines Praudivada as Swavidya Atishaya Kyapanartham Katanam. Means it's a statement which is made revealing the high degree of excellence of his
high
own
degree
knowledge.
in excellence. Eh?
High degree excellence. High degree of excellence.
High degree of Swavidya. Atishaya.
Or the excellence of.
The excellence or high degree. High degree of excellence we don't say. High degree of Swavidya. Atishaya means high degree. So I have told both the meanings, but you combine both the meanings.
High degree of.
High degree of one's own knowledge, one's own learning.
You cannot say high degree of excellence of his own.
Can say, but then you are using both the meanings of a word.
So it's revealing the excellence of his own knowledge.
Excellence is excellent word.
Of his own knowledge. And this he says that to show that that person understands the subject matter so well that he can go beyond it and express it in a general form which may not be understood.
To emphasize it.
To
Yes.
emphasize it. So with this, the Tippanikara, he refines the definition of the distinct to explain why dosha is.
Very good. This is a good style.
I try to be as short as possible.
No, this is a very good.
Tough, you know.
No, this is a good style.
It's nicer to do it.
I like this.
I had one doubt.
Capture the essence. Yes, please.
You had said that primary sense and secondary sense. We used those two words in the earlier class. And you said that in the case of
primary sense of what?
This dosha is not the Tipanikaras. The understanding of Nishchala Das and the Sharirika Mimamsa, you said is not.
Primary sense, it is not there.
Because you said that the secondary sense, the Anatma and Atma Adhyasa cannot be seen in a primary sense. But it can be seen only in the secondary sense.
The dosha for the Adhyasa are accepted by Sankshepa Sharirikakara. But Sankshepa Sharirikakara says that dosha, which are necessary for Atma and Atma Adhyasa, are not in their primary sense, not in conventional sense, in secondary sense.
What does that mean?
That is coming today.
Oh, okay.
Coming today. In what sense doshas are there? Alright. So, Praudhivada means a statement which is slight deviation, which is presenting slight deviation from the regular stand. A statement which presents slight deviation from regular stand. And that particular statement which presents the deviation from regular stand is showing the greatness of the person in learning, especially in that area. That is called Praudhivada. So Praudhivada means some Granthakara makes some statement regarding some subject matter. Like some Granthakara will say Ekajivavada alone is presented in all Vedanta. Ekajivavada. So this is a Praudhivada. Because Ekajivavada alone is not really presented. Nana Jivavada also is presented. Or Drishti Srishti Vada alone is presented in Vedanta. This is what Praudhivada. And this Praudhivada shows that he has studied and analyzed the Vedanta Vakyas and how they are directly or indirectly suggesting Drishti Srishti Vada or Ekajiva Vada. And based on that he has made this statement. And therefore this statement is, it is not that he wants to show off, but it will show his glory. So Khyapanartham, instead of that we said Khyapayan. Swa Vidyatishaya Khyapayan Vadaha. Khyapanartham, it like we puts the person down, the author. He is like trying to show off. That will the idea come. Is it clear? Swa Vidyatishaya Khyapanartham is for the purpose of showing off the high degree of his knowledge. But what we should understand is that the statement, Vadaha statement, which is revealing the high degree of learning of the person. This is a subtle difference. So, Praudhyartha Vadaha, Praudhivada, and Praudhivada is the Vada, the statement which is presenting the stand, which is somewhat different from the regular stand. Regular stand is we talk about the creation, and creation is there, therefore person is having experience. Then it is Samanya Kathanam. But if somebody says that creation is there only when you see it, then it is what? Praudhivada. He said that alone is the main Siddha. That alone is presented in all Vedanta Vakyas. That is Praudivada. Or Ajatavadaha. Ajatavada also can be considered as a Praudivada. Means the creation is not there at all. In Shastra, creation is not at all presented. So if somebody makes some audacious statement, that statement will be called Praudivada. Regarding that also some debate will be there. He said Ajatavada is not a Praudivada, that is the main Vada. Then anything else you say is a Praudivada. Alright, but normally what we say, that Brahman is Jagat Karanam and the Jagat Karanam Brahman you are. That is how we are presenting generally. Now you say there is no Brahman is not Karanam at all. Brahman is Ajatam Eva. That alone is presented everywhere in Vedanta. If you say this, it is Praudivada. Alright. Or we say that in Vedas, it is said Kurvita, Yajeta. That shows the Kartavyata. Shruti is prescribing that something is to be done. So generally that Ta Pratyaya Yajeta, it conveys the idea of to be done. That is a general stand we have. But if we say no, that Yajeta, that is not really conveying this Kartavyata, it is conveying only Ishta Sadhanata. Then it is a Praudivada. So Praudivada means a slightly different stand, but not against the main Siddhanta. So you cannot say, no, this Jagat Satyam, Brahma Mithya, what is this Praudivada? You cannot say like this. In the name of Praudivada, you cannot go against Siddhanta. So Praudivada doesn't mean it goes against the main Siddhanta. But in Prakriya, there will be slight variation. We have got some general Prakriya and there are some people who present it in a slightly different manner. In that type situation, the statement which is slightly deviating from the normal Prakriya is called Praudivada. Alright. So here when the Granthakara says that the doshaha is na adhyasa hetuhu, then is a Tippani Kara considers as a Praudivada. Here we can reconcile in another manner. We can resolve this matter by simply saying that when Granthakara says doshaha na adhyasa hetuhu, he said dosha trayam only. And that too dosha traya samavaya. All three doshas together alone is the adhyasa hetu. That is not correct. That's what Deshab Das is saying. Then it is not even Praudivada. It is a general statement. It is true. We accept that all the three doshas not required. Alright. Now, second Tippani, that Sankshepa Sharirake Bandhadhyasa Prastave Dosha Api Karanatvena Uktaha. That is explained by the Tippani Kara. That how the dosha is the Karanam in Adhyasa, as per Sankshepa Shariraka Kara, that is explained. Antahkaranastha Ajnanasya Vikshepa Hetu Bhuta Shakti Dishta Shubha Karma Janya Samskara Rupa Adrishtam Pramatru Doshaha. So he is showing that if you are too particular that in Adhyasa these three doshas should be there, then we will show you. Yes, Pramatru Dosha is there. What? Not Lobhadi Pramatru Dosha. Because the Lobhadi is there, then the Anatma Adhyasa will not happen. So he says Pramatru Dosha is Antakaranastha Ajnanasya, of the Ajnanam obtaining in the Antakaranam. This also is a Praudivada. Really Ajnanam, technically it is in the Karana Sharira. But here Karana Sharira manifesting as Antakarana. So Ajnanam, which is obtaining in Antakarana, this is based on our general explanations. I do not know. My mind doesn't understand. So we say that antakranasya ajnanasya. Ajnanasya adrishtam. Adrishtam means invisible factor, invisible result, which is samskara rupa, which is in the form of impression. And this impression is what? Shubha Shubha Karma Janya, which is born of right and wrong action. Alright. And this samskara, where does it stay? Nishtha, remaining. Remaining in what? Shakti, the power, which is Hetu Bhuta, which is the cause. Cause for what? Vikshepa, the projection. So Pramatra dosha is what? This Punya Papa is Pramatra dosha. If Punya Papa you have, then only some Adhyasa will happen. Alright, so Pramatra dosha. So what is the meaning he gave? Vikshepa Hetu Bhuta Shakti. The power which is responsible for projection. And that power belongs to what? Ajnanam. Power in the form of the cause for the projection which belongs to Ajnanam, and in that power there is Adrishta, this invisible result, Punya Papa, which are in the form of samskara, which are born of right and wrong action. Is it clear? So right and wrong action give rise to the impressions. And that impression is called Adrishta. And where is this Adrishta? It is remaining in the power. And that power is what? Responsible for Vikshepa. So Vikshepa Hetu Bhuta Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti, we can practically can call it Vikshepa Shakti. And in Vikshepa Shakti there is a Punya Papa. And that Vikshepa Shakti Hetu Bhuta Punya Papa, Vikshepa Shakti Hetu Nishtha Punya Papa is Pramatra dosha. And this Vikshepa Shakti belongs to what? Ajnanam. So Antakaranasya Ajnanasya Vikshepa Shakti Hetu Bhuta, Antakaranastha Ajnanasya Vikshepa Hetu Bhuta Shakti Nishtha Shubha Samskar Shubha Shubha Karma Janya Samskar Upadrishta. Final meaning is Adrishtam is Pramatra dosha. See, if Adrishtam is not there, life will not be there. If life is not there, Adhyasa will not happen. So, Adrishtam Pramatra dosha. Next, Pramana dosha. Chaitanye Swatirikta Pramana Bhavat Swaswarupameva Pramanam. This is what unusual way of looking at this dosha. He said, when you talk about Pramana dosha, how will you look upon the word Pramanam? He says Swaswarupam, one's own true nature itself is Pramanam. Why? Chaitanya, with regard to Chaitanya, Swa Atirikta Pramana Bhavat. There is absence of any means of knowledge other than oneself. With reference to Chaitanyam, nothing else is required to make it evident. Therefore, Chaitanyasya Swarupam, one's own Swarupam is Pramanam. There is a very unusual way of looking at Pramanam. And Tadashrita Avidya, the Avidya which is residing in that Swarupa Bhuta Chaitanyam is Pramana dosha. So ignorance resting on the Swarupa of Chaitanyam or Chaitanya Swarupa Atma is called Pramana dosha. Alright, these Pramaya dosha are more creative. So these are the ways we can show that Pramatra dosha, Pramana dosha. If you insist that this should be there, then we can show it in this manner. Alright, then he says that Pramaya dosha means Sadrishya. And how there is a Sadrishyam between Atma and Anatma? Okay, we'll show it. Nirapeksha Antaratvam Pratyaktvam Chaitanya Asti. In consciousness, there is Nirapeksha Antaratvam, absolute interiority, internalness. is there in consciousness. So antaratvam is pratyaktvam. And prapanche, and here we have to understand prapanche, dehadi rupa prapanche. In the body, etc., the world in the form of body, etc., tad viparitam, as opposed to that, sapeksha antaratvam asti. Relative interiority is there. Compared to the objects, other objects of the world, body, mind, sense complex has got interiority, closeness, all right. So tadviparitam is as opposed to the nirapeksha, not completely opposite. Nirapeksha antaratvam is there in Chaitanyam, sapeksha antaratvam is there in the dehadi prapancha. Okay, so this one similarity. What a way of similarity though. Chaitanyam, okay, another similarity is Chaitanyam is Paramartha Vastu, is the absolute real entity, Chaitanyam. Whereas Prapancha is Anirvachaniya Vastu. It is inexplicable thing. Therefore what? Tasmat, therefore, because of this fact, Antaratva Vastutva Rupa Dharmabhyam Chaitanya Prapanchayoho Sadrishyam Siddham. It's a very odd way of saying. Therefore, based on the Antaratva, interiority, and Vastu Swarupatva, based on the status of being a thing, between Chaitanya and Prapancha, Sadrishyam, similarity is Siddham. Ayam cha Prameya Doshaha. This is Prameya Dosha. See, this is called Praudivada. This what is presented here is a Praudivada.
This is Tasmat from Tasmat.
Tasmat means because of the above mentioned fact. Means in the previous two statements it is said that Chaitanya Nirupeksha Antaratvam Asti, Prapanche Sapeksha Antaratvam Asti. But Antaratvam is common. And similarly Chaitanyam is Paramartha Vastu. Prapancha also is what? Anirvachaniya Vastu. Is it clear? Therefore, based on this fact mentioned in the previous two statements as sentences, Antaratva Vastutva Rupa Dharmabhyam means based on these the qualities of being interior and being a thing. Chaitanya Prapanchayoho, between the Chaitanya and Prapancha, Sadrishyam Siddham. Sadrishyam is established. This is called what? This is Ayamcha Prameya Doshaha. This is Prameya Dosha. And this is Praudivada. Because our main Siddhanta is that between Atma and Anatma, there is no Sadrishyam. Tamah Prakashavad Viruddha Swabhavayoho. That is our main stand, which is presented by Bhashyakara in Adhyasa Bhashyam. But here he is presenting in this manner just to Tushyatu Durjana Nyayena. Means if you are too particular, you want Adhyasa, but these three should be there. Okay, you want, they are there. Nahi hai, though, like sometimes, we don't have things this person is asking. So in place of what he is asking, we give something else. He is asking some mango and we give some banana, that's all. Something. So Vastrartham Akshatan Samarpayami. So Vastra we cannot give, we don't have. Therefore what? Akshata we give. Akshata you cannot wear it. You cannot wear Akshata. In normal sense, some people don't know, Swami, I will wear it. So put all body Akshata. But generally we don't. But still, in place of that we give. So person is so particular, then this particular issue of Adhyasa Upapatti can be handled in this manner also, says Sankshepa Shariraka Kara. So, when Purvapakshi raises this doubt that without this three dosha, Adhyasa cannot happen. So, that particular objection can be handled in two ways. One is handled now by Nishchala Dasji, and this is how generally we handle. By saying that you cannot insist for these three dosha as a mandatory requirement, because we have the situations when these three doshas are not there, still adhyasa is there. That is one way of handling. By showing the vyatireka vyabhichara. And that is the normal stand. This is the normal stand we have. When objection based on this dosha bhava is raised, we handle it by showing vyatireka vyabhichara. Another way of handling, compassionate way of handling, is this Sankshepa Sharirika Kara. What? Acha, you are so particular, you want no? Okay, I will show you. So see, this is Pramatru dosha. Hai. So that Pramana dosha, hai. Prameya dosha, maan gaye. So this is how it is presented. So in fact, this is an example of Praudivada. Now you can understand what is Praudivada. Praudivada means this presenting the stand which is different from the normal stand. Our normal stand is these three doshas are not required for adhyasa, anatma, adhyasa, anatma. Because we have got vyatireka vyabhichara. That is normal stand. Here he is answering. Purva Pakshi should be answered that somehow adhyasa should be possible. We have to convince him that adhyasa of anatma and atma is possible. And when he raises the objection, either we very tough stand we take or compassionate stand we take. Compassionate stand is taken by Sankshepa Sharirika. Ayam cha prameya dosha. Is it clear? Okay. Itham doshaha adhyasa karanatvena Sankshepa Sharirikadi grantheshu nirupitaha. In this manner, doshas, these defects are nirupitaha, presented in Sankshepa Sharirikadi grantheshu. Sankshepa Sharirika, all these are not presented so elaborately. In that some only are presented. But therefore is Adi Grantheshu. Sankshepa Sharirikadi Grantheshu Doshaha Adhyasa Karanatvena Nirupitaha. They are presented as the cause for Adhyasa. Alright, so the Granthakara presented a particular stand, Tippadikara presented a particular stand, and both are reconcilable. See, when we study this type of book, some people have got the problem is Swamiji. Before reading this text, the whole subject matter was very clear to me. And now, Swamiji, after reading Vichara Sagara, I have got so many questions. And because according to this, it is like this, according to this, it is like this, and both look alike, but both are different. So that risk is there. It's like a, Shilajit. Shilajit is very good if you have got digestive power. It will give you a lot of strength. But if you don't have digestive power, whatever strength you have, that also will go away. Like high tonics, तो चना खाने से भी ऐसा होता है. If you have strength, then chana will give you good strength. But if you don't have, gone. Whatever is there is gone. Okay. That's why generally we teach only after some study has been done. And here in this Gurukulam, it has been done. We assume it is done, and therefore we are studying. Okay. Vidvat Manoranjana we don't say. Vidvatta Pradarshanam, you can say. Alright. Vaidushya Pradarshanam, you can say. But that also, that expression is like putting the person down. It is not that he is doing for that, but when he does, his scholarship is seen. That's the difference. We want to highlight the difference. It is not that he is doing for showing up his scholarship, but when he is doing, his scholarship is seen. Like when you're talking to some people, you can immediately make out that he must be a great scholar. It is not that he is talking to impress us, but the way he presents, etc., you understand that usko न्याय का study है. You understand that. बोले यहाँ हेतु मत भाव संबंध नहीं होगा, यहाँ तो उपाधि आ जाएगी. So we understand that he has studied. It's not that he is trying to impress you, but that is how he thinks. Therefore, his Vidvatta will be known. Like we bought the book Siddhanta Bindu with the commentaries and all. By that Swamiji was impressed. Once we were buying the books in Haridwar, and one Swamiji was passing by. That bookseller know that person, Swamiji. So he greeted Swamiji, then Swamiji came. And we also did namaskara to him, and he saw some books. That is how good books. Then I told Swamiji, you can buy that book, we'll pay for it. Then he asked what all books they are buying, and he saw the list. So by seeing the list, he was very impressed. We didn't buy the book to impress him, but he got impressed. Acha, ye book, because generally people don't buy such book. So he got impressed. And he took us to his ashram. We gave him only 100 rupees worth book. He gave Dakshina to Brahmacharis 1000 rupees. That by the way, ये पता नहीं ये recording में आ गया. So all right. So that is Praudivada. Okay. Now, so with this 4 Adhyasa Samagri have been dealt with. What are the 4 Samagri? First is Samskara, born of experience. Second is Pramatru dosha. Third is Pramana dosha. Fourth is Prameya dosha. And out of these 4, we said the first one is there in the case of Anatma, Adhyasa on Atma, but in a refined manner. For second, third and fourth, our response, Nishchal Das' very tough response is, and which is a regular response, that is, these 3 are not mandatory requirements. Since they are not mandatory and therefore not having them is not a dosha. Something which is required and you don't have. Suppose somebody comes here in the course and he doesn't have computer. So is it आपके पास computer नहीं जाओ? ऐसा नहीं होगा. Computer is not a mandatory requirement. If he has, it may be useful. Perhaps. But in the class it will not be useful. He cannot use the computer. That's a different thing. So what I am saying that certain things which is not mandatory, and if it is not there, it is not a dosha. When you are attending some function, regular, it's not that you have to have silk dhoti, not necessary. Silk dhoti nahi वापस जाओ, ऐसा नहीं है ना. So if it is there, it looks nice. When you are going to marriage, you wear silk dhoti, silk upper cloth, looks shiny. But if it is not there, it is not that dosha. Alright. So similarly, for these 3 doshas, Siddhanti's answer is they are not mandatory, and therefore, even though they are not there, they are not that's not a dosha. And some you want like very compassionate answer, they are there. We can somehow manage to show it is there. But as a Sharirika Kara had said, Tad Upachara Vashat. In secondary sense, it is there. Alright, so with these 4 topics are dealt with. Now the 5th one is, Purva Pakshi had presented that for any adhyasa, we require some jnanam, some ajnanam. For adhyasa, we require the jnanam of adhishthanam, some jnanam of adhishthanam, and some ajnanam of adhishthanam. Thoda khatta, thoda mitha. So, like Gujarati pickle it should be. And he showed that, see, in Rajju Sarpa, Adhyasa, Rajju is somewhat known. Idam Taya is known. But Rajju is not known as Rajju. Visheshataya Ajnatam. Samanyataya Ajnatam, Visheshataya Ajnatam. Rajju alone can become the Adhishthanam for the Adhyaropa of Sarpa. So for Adhyasa, a mistake to happen, Samanya Jnanam is required and Vishesha Ajnanam is required. Some Jnanam, some Ajnanam. That is the case. You have misunderstanding only of that person whom you have known. You don't have misunderstanding about somebody whom you don't know at all. Alright. And therefore both are required. And Siddhant, the Purva Pakshi had told that here 2 problems are there. With regard to this requirement, in your Atma Anatma Adhyasa, 2 problems are there. One is that regarding Atma, Ajnanam is not possible. And without Ajnanam of Atma, Atma cannot become adhishthanam of anatma adhyasa. For the adhyasa of anatma on atma, there should be ignorance of atma. And that is not possible because atma is swayam prakashaha. Jnana swarupaha atma. In jnana swarupa atma, how can there be ajnana? And he gives the example of the sun. How can there be darkness in the sun? Not possible. So similarly, with regard to Swayam Prakasha Atma, Ajnanam is not possible. Therefore, Atma cannot become the Adhishthanam for the Adhyaropa of Anatma. Because Adhishthanam, Ajnanam of Adhishthanam is there, then only Adhyasa is possible. That was one. Another objection he had raised is that Samanya Jnanam and Vishesha Ajnanam, that will be possible only when Samanya Vishesha Bhava is there in Atma. Adhisthana, Samanya Jnanam is required and Vishesha Jnanam is required. Samanya Vishesha status should be there in Atma, Adhisthana. And Atma is Nirvisheshaha. Atma is free from Samanya Vishesha Bhava. Atma doesn't have any Vishesha. Therefore, Samanya Vishesha Bhava itself is not possible. And therefore, Adhisthana Samanya Jnanam and Adhisthana Vishesha Ajnanam, that requirement will not be fulfilled in this Atma. And therefore, fifth requirement, Samanya Jnanam, Vishesha Ajnanam, for about Adhishthanam, that requirement is not fulfilled in Atma Anatma Adhyasa, therefore Atma Anatma Adhyasa is not possible. So that was raised in 71-72. In the 71, this first one, that Ajnanam is not there. 72, it was said that Samanya Vishesha Bhava is not there. So in two stages, the objections were raised. Okay. And to that particular objection, answer is given in the from the 97th Anuvaka and 97th Avarta. And Granthakara is having a lot of leisure. So very elaborately presents. And first topic is given Karanadhyasa Nirupanam. So answer this particular objection, fifth Samagri related objection, he is elaborately presenting that there is a Karanadhyasa means Ajnanadhyasa possible. Here Karanadhyasa refers to Ajnanadhyasa. So Nirupana means description of the superimposition of the Karanam. Karana refer to Ajnanam. So Ajnanadhyasa Nirupanam. Alright. Now regarding the title itself, Tippanikara has something to say. कितना वो विचार करता है ना, सो टाइटल के बारे में बोलो, सुनिए कुछ. हाँ, ननु प्रपंच, टिप्पणी नंबर 3, ननु प्रपंच कारणम अधिष्ठानस्य विशेषांशा ज्ञानम. The objection is that Visheshamsha Ajnanam, ignorance of the specific aspect of the Adhishthanam, which is the Karanam for Prapancha. So Prapancha Karanam, not Adhishthanam, Prapancha Karanam Adhishthanasya Visheshamsha Ajnanam. I wrongly read. So Adhishthanasya Visheshamsha Ajnanam, ignorance of the specific aspect of Adhishthanam is the cause for Prapancha. Prapancha Karanam Kim? Visheshamsha Jnanam. Kasya? Adhishthanasya. Alright. In simple words, ignorance of specific aspect of Adhishthanam is the cause for Prapancha. Tasya Adhyasa eva Karanadhyasa iti uchyate. And Tasya Adhyasa, Tasya means Ajnanasya Adhyasa. The superimposition of ignorance itself is Karanadhyasa, is called Karanadhyasa. See, Prapancha is Adhyasa Rupa, and Adhyasa Rupa Prapanchasya Karanam also is अज्ञानाध्यास रूपः. So tasya adhyasa eva karanadhyasa iti uchyate is called karanadhyasa. Tasya refers to ajnanasya. Alright. Now objection is, what is the objection here? Tatra, in this regard, prapanchadhyasa karanam ajnanam अज्ञानाध्यासस्य तु न किंचित कारणांतरम अस्ति. प्रपंचाध्यास कारणम अज्ञानम. Ignorance is the cause for the superimposition of prapancha. Means ignorance is responsible for the adhyasa of this world. But ajnanadhyasasya tu na kinchit karanantaram asti. For the superimposition of ajnanam, any other cause is not there. So what is said? For the superimposition of prapancha, ajnanam is karanam. Prapanchasya adhyasasya karanam ajnanam. Ignorance is the cause for the superimposition of the world. We got some cause. For prapancha adhyasa, we got some cause. What is the cause? Ajnanam. But Ajnanam is Satya or Mithya? We say Ajnanam also is Mithya. So it should be Adhyasta. Now question would be that for the superimposition of Ajnanam, what is the Karanam? Ajnana dhyasasya tu na kinchit karanantaram asti. For the superimposition of ignorance, which is the cause for the prapancha adhyasa, anya karanam nasti. We don't have any entity remaining which can be the cause for the superimposition of ajnanam itself. Because only the prapancha is there, ajnanam is there, Brahman is there. Now, the cause for the prapancha adhyasa is ajnanam. Therefore, prapancha cannot be the cause for the ajnana adhyasa because prapancha is the effect. Effect cannot be the cause for the cause. Therefore, prapancha adhyasa cannot become the cause for the ajnana adhyasa. So prapancha is out and ajnanam cannot be the cause for the ajnana adhyasa. Atmashraya dosha will be there. You cannot ride on your own shoulder. So what is remaining? Brahma. The Brahma cannot become the karanam, the cause for anything. Brahma cannot be the cause. Why? Brahman is karya karana bhava rahita. And therefore Brahman is karanantaram. Brahman also cannot be karanantaram. So kinchit karanantaram nasti. Alright. Tasmat ajnanadhyasaha nasyad. Therefore, there will not be superimposition of ajnanam. Iti, in this manner, yasya kasyachit akshepe sati. When there is objection of someone, yasya kasya means of someone. Tan nirasaha. The answer to that or resolution to that objection evam in this following manner. What is that following manner? Deepaha yatha swayameva prakashamanaha san swasambandha nitaransha padarthan swapara nirvahakatvad itaranapeksham prakashayati. तथा अज्ञानमपि स्वस्य स्वकार्य प्रपंचस्य च अध्यास कारणं भवति. दीपः, lamp, यथा स्वयमेव प्रकाशमानम्, shining by itself. Means for shining the lamp you don't require another lamp. Lamp is shining by itself. And being self-luminous, swasambandhan itaran padarthan prakashayati. The lamp illumines the objects, other objects, means other than oneself, which are associated with itself. If lamp is here, then whatever is associated with this lamp, all other objects, that lamp illumines. Why? Swapara nirvahakatvat. Because it is capable of illumining oneself and the other. Nirvahaka literally means handler. It is capable of handling oneself and others. And here nirvahakatva in the sense of illuminator, making evident. So lamp can handle this illumination of oneself and others. And therefore what? Itaranapi prakashayati. Swayameva prakashamana itaranapi prakashayati. Itaranapeksham, without expecting anybody else. Itara anapeksham, without expecting anybody else, it is shining oneself and it is illumining others. It shines itself and it illumines others. It shines by itself and illumines others without expecting others. So it is possible that one entity can handle illumination of oneself and others. We give other example. See, with the help of glue, you bring these two papers and you glue them, join them. Now you tell me that glue joins two papers. Two papers are joined by the glue. Now tell me what is required for glue to join to the paper? To join, to combine, to join two papers, you require glue. If you want to make it like one sheet, so you require glue. Now glue to be joined to the paper, what is required? Nothing is required. Glue itself sticks. Otherwise we require second anavastha will happen. We will have a series of glues. Like that, we give the example of glue also. Like this, we have so much Veda also, we have so many examples. One is, two are enough. So similarly, Ajnanam api, even ignorance, swasya swakarya prapanchasya cha adhyasa karanam bhavati. So Ajnanam becomes the cause for the adhyasa of oneself. Purvapakshi said it cannot happen. Siddhanti said it is possible. Giving the example of light, lamp, he said, Ajnanam is the karanam for the superimposition of oneself and also the superimposition of the prapancha, which is its product. Then it may say that Atmashraya dosha will come. For that we say that Atmashraya dosha will come when it is not having a particular specific power. Self-luminosity like situation is not there, then Atmashraya. If a particular object, like if this mobile requires the support of a table, it cannot sustain by itself. Then if you say that it sustains itself and others, then it will be Atmashraya. But when a particular entity has got the capacity of being self-illumination or swanirvahakatvam is there, then Atmashraya doesn't come. Otherwise, if you keep on saying Atmashraya, then nothing will be established. So we say that this building is resting on the foundation. Foundation is resting on what? On the ground. Now we say, but ground is resting on what? Ground? No ground. Ground is not resting on. Ground is earth. Ground means the earth. The earth is self-supporting. Of course, we will go to gravitation, etc. But from the empirical angle, the ground is the final support. For ground, we are not doing foundation. For ground को support करने के लिए फिर foundation, we are not doing. So in every case, we have to have somewhere final point will be there, where ground supports itself and ground supports the foundation of the building. Everywhere it has to be there. The lamp also, it illumines others and it is not illumined by others. Similarly, this Ajnanam is the final point of Adhyasa, where it is the cause for the Adhyasa of others and it handles the superimposition of itself. This is one way of saying. What we say, that it does not require really Karanam because it is Anadi, beginningless. Therefore, Really, adhyasa karanam is not. Adhyasa is superimposed. All right. More we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri